Everybody, peace. Welcome to the Sorry to Bother You NFL show, wherever or however you're listening. We're so grateful to have you with us. As you guys know, I'm your host, Cashapp. And listen, guys, we got a wonderful show for today, guys. We are going to be discussing some interesting topics revolving around NFL. One of those topics being the fact that there are two MVP candidates in the Beltway right now. And also, we're going to be discussing who exactly is the best team in the NFL. Is it Kansas City coming off their recent performance against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football? We're going to be discussing all of this and then some, guys. But before we get started, be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well, so you guys can stay up to date on all related content that we post daily. And if you'd like to gain exclusive content from the Sorry to Bother You show, you can do so by going to patreon.com, clicking on the search bar, and typing in Sorry to Bother You show. That way you can gain access to all the exclusive content that we post daily. Listen, none of this is possible without you guys, the fans, so we're so grateful and honored for all the love and support that you guys continue to show us day in and day out. That being said, guys, let's go and get right into it, shall we? Listen, like I said, dynamic quarterback play coming out of the Beltway from both teams. Listen, Jayden Daniels of the Washington Commanders and Lamar Jackson of the Baltimore Ravens, two potential MVP candidates, in my perspective. And listen, both of these guys had amazing performances over the weekend. Lamar Jackson, my apologies, went 16-19 for 280 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Denver Broncos, in which the Ravens defeated the Broncos by a score of 41-10. Lamar Jackson posted a perfect passer rating, and if I'm not mistaken, and if I'm wrong about this, one of you guys can correct me, Lamar Jackson now has the most games with a perfect passer rating in NFL history. And if I'm wrong about that, one of you guys can correct me, but I believe I saw that stat somewhere. And Jayden Daniels of the Commanders went 15-22 for 209 yards and 2 touchdowns in the Commanders' victory over the Giants, in which they won 27-22. Washington is now 7-2 on the year, while Baltimore is 6-3. And listen, you could legitimately say both these teams are well, you could say about Baltimore is possibly the best team in the AFC, and Washington, you could argue, is the best team in the NFC East. And listen, both of these guys are both these guys are tremendous talents, and in my perspective, I do believe Lamar Jackson is the front runner right now for MVP, while Jayden Daniels is front runner for Offensive Rookie of the Year right now. And people are starting to make the argument that Washington and Jayden Daniels has a legitimate chance of vying for the MVP. And it's sad because Washington has had immense success this season, in major part due to the play of Jayden Daniels. And Washington's a good team, though. Washington has a great defense, a defense that is one of the best in stopping the run. And they just bolstered their secondary by trading for Marshawn Lattimore today. And Washington does a great job of running the ball, too, with Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. And Jayden Daniels does a great job of putting the ball in the right position. He doesn't turn the ball over. And listen, if you're if you're Washington, you're in prime position. You're in great position to obviously make the playoffs, win the division, and maybe make a run at the NFC Championship. And if you're Baltimore, this is nothing new. Listen, Lamar Jackson is, in my opinion, has been the best player in NFL so far this year, and Baltimore has been a bit inconsistent, and we'll talk about that in the next segment. But I was thinking about this in the ride home from my workouts this morning, and I broached the topic or the question: if Lamar Jackson wins a Super Bowl this year, Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, is a top 6 quarterback all time. And I say that because of the things that he's able to do, the things that he has done. And the question becomes, what can't he do? If he adds Super Bowl to his resume, that will be amongst his collection of 3 MVPs, and um, and him leading the league in passing yards 2 years, as well as obviously his dynamic running ability. You add a Super Bowl to that resume. In my perspective, Lamar Jackson is no doubt about it, top 6, top 7 quarterback of all time. And if you add two Super Bowls in there, then you start talking about Lamar Jackson as a top 3, maybe top 5 for sure, maybe top 3 quarterback all time if he gets 2 Super Bowls. But no question about it, if he gets 1 Super Bowl, I believe Lamar Jackson is a top 6, top 7 quarterback all time. And that's the only thing that's missing on his resume. And I believe this is a prime year for Baltimore to perhaps win the Super Bowl. But we'll get into that in the next segment. But listen, dynamic quarterback play in the Beltway from both of these teams. And, the Beltway is in good position for football. Both teams are playing tremendous football, Baltimore and Washington. And if I had to lean one way right now, I would say that Lamar Jackson is the MVP frontrunner right now. But, Jayden Daniels is a top 5. I would say he's a top 5 MVP candidate right now based on his play and obviously Washington's success as a team. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Is Jayden Daniels a legitimate MVP candidate? And is Lamar Jackson your frontrunner for the MVP right now? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Leave your thoughts in the chat room. I'm looking forward to hearing all about it. And in our next segment, guys, we are going to be discussing just who was the best team in the NFL. Is it Kansas City? So be sure to stick around for that, guys. You're not going to miss it. Be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back. In case you missed our previous segment, we were discussing the 2 potential MVP candidates, both in the Beltway, them being Jayden Daniels and Lamar Jackson. And we discussed where both of those guys rank on the MVP leaderboard at this point in the season. And in this segment, guys, we're going to be discussing who exactly is the best team in the NFL right now. And is it Kansas City? We're going to discuss that and then some, guys. So let's go and get right into it. As you guys know, Kansas City is coming off a dominant performance against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. A game in which the Chiefs won by a score of 30-24. Listen, the Chiefs are now 8-0 on the year right now. And this game was actually the first game in which Kansas City has scored 30 points or more, which is an interesting stat for me to see. What that tells me, obviously, is that Kansas City has been relying on their defense tremendously over the course of the season. We know that Patrick Mahomes has not been playing up to his standard, which is an ethereal standard in and of itself. But based on what you expect to see in Patrick Mahomes, yeah, he has not played up to that standard. And that doesn't mean he's been playing poor by any stretch of the imagination. But however, Patrick Mahomes has had an interception in each of the last or 7 of the last 8 games, which is not the norm for him. So could that be a factor in why Kansas City has not been able to score the ball offensively? That's a very real possibility. And just like I said, Kansas City 8-0 on the year. This is the first time they've been 8-0 or 7-0, sorry, at least since the 2013 season. And that year they finished 11-5. As you guys know, that year they blew a 21-point lead to Indianapolis in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong about that one, you guys can correct me. But in this past performance, in this most recent performance, against Tampa Bay, Patrick Mahomes went 34-44 for 291 yards and 3 touchdowns. The rushing was led by Kareem Hunt, who had 27 carries, 106 yards, and 1 touchdown. Travis Kelce had 14 receptions, 100 yards. DeAndre Hopkins had 8 receptions, 86 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Mecole Hardman had 3 receptions, 17 yards. And Justin Watson had 3 receptions and 43 yards. And we got to remember that this is all done while Hollywood Brown is out, and Xavier Worthy got limited minutes as well. Listen, there's a lot of talent on this Kansas City roster. We sit back and look about it. Think about it. They have Hollywood Brown, like I said, Mecole Hardman, DeAndre Hopkins, Rashee Rice, who was also out for the year, and Juju Smith-Schuster, and Xavier Worthy. I mean, that's 6 receivers right there who are just extremely, extremely talented. So, Kansas City has some amazing pieces to work with, and I doubt that they'll be able to keep all those guys, but like I said, there are some legitimate reasons. I understand why some people would believe that Kansas City is the best team in the NFL. A lot of people would say that, well, maybe it's Baltimore. Maybe Baltimore's the best team in the NFL. I'm a little hesitant to say Baltimore is the best team in the NFL because they've been wildly inconsistent. We saw their performance against Cleveland as well as their earlier performances, albeit against Kansas City. But the highs of Baltimore, when Baltimore is playing at, when they're firing on all cylinders, they just look like a completely different team. They look like a behemoth, and it doesn't like any team can compete with them. However, their ability to play consistently has been what's hindered Baltimore from reaching their full potential. And based upon that, I can't say that Baltimore is the best team in the NFL right now. I have to go with Kansas City based upon their consistency. But in terms of upside and potential, no doubt about it, Baltimore has the most upside and most potential. But based on what I've seen so far, I have to go with Kansas City right now being the best team in the NFL. And let's not forget about Detroit, a team that has been firing on all cylinders, and it's been extremely consistent as well. In my opinion, those are the 3 best teams: Kansas City, Baltimore, and Detroit. I think Kansas City has been the best team so far, followed by Baltimore, followed by Detroit. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. I believe Kansas City has been the best team in the NFL so far. Do you guys think it's Baltimore? Do you guys think it's Detroit? Do you guys think maybe it's Green Bay? Maybe Buffalo, a team that no one else is talking about? Let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. But with that being said, guys, that's it for our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a wonderful show. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well, so you guys can stay up to date on all of our latest content. And if you'd like to gain exclusive content from the Sorry to Bother You Show, you can do so by going to patreon.com, clicking on the search bar, and typing in Sorry to Bother You Show. That way you can get access to all of our exclusive content that we post daily. We'll be back again, guys, same time tomorrow with our basketball show. Until then, guys, continue to stay safe, be vigilant, make smart decisions.